All right. Tampa Bay Buccaneers lose to the Atlanta Falcons 36-30 in what is a disappointing game. I mean, there's no getting around it. This was disappointing we were up for most of the football game, especially most of the second half. Falcons score literally with 1 second left. They got the snap off with a second left, are able to kick the game-winning field goal or game-tying field goal, and then in overtime, they win the coin toss and win the game. Cousins over 500 yards on the day, which is insane. Let's start with, listen, this is the Tampa Bay fan reaction to this. So obviously I'm going to view things through a Tampa Bay lens, but I think, usually what I do when my team loses, which happens, is I'm going to credit the team that won. Kirk Cousins was fantastic in this game, and we'll get into some of the issues. We'll get into the defense not playing well. We'll get into the injuries, the Todd Bowles of it all of that stuff. Cousins was still really good in this game, and he was making some great throws. Part of why there were guys open was because he was finding the open guys, right? He had over 500 yards, and it was like good efficiency too. He had 58 attempts. It's not like one of those you throw 80 times. Like, no. He was just really moving the ball down the field. Drake London, over 150 yards. Darnell Mooney, who I can't believe wasn't their leading receiver, over 100 yards of his own. Kyle Pitts had 88 yards. Cordero Hodge with the big game winner. So much firepower offensively. I was thrilled every time they ran the ball because that wasn't really working outside of one long Bijan Robinson run. They weren't able to get much going there. But as a whole, the Falcons' offense was fantastic. Defense left something to be desired, but that's the headline. Great job at Kirk Cousins. Gotta tip your cap to him. Again, sometimes you go up against a hot quarterback. It is what it is. That being said, we're all thinking it if you're a Tampa Bay fan. What the hell was Tampa Bay doing in this game? And listen, a lot of injuries. I mean, at this point, you could count the number of starters on this defense with one hand. I get it. And that's part of why I'm not devastated by this loss, actually. Yes, it is disappointing, but you have to factor in the fact that they are missing a ton defensively. But at the same time, injuries are going to happen. The game I have to compare this to was the Texans game last year, the C.J. Stroud game, where he was ridiculous in that game, and he was great in that game. But also part of why he was really good was because Todd Bowles had a defense that he thought was going to work, and it just didn't work, and yet he kept doing it. And that's this game as well. He's doing these zone blitzes, usually a cover 3 zone blitz, constantly, and it just wasn't working. I mean, how many times did we have guys wide open over the middle? At a certain point, again, Levante missed a bit of time, but okay, listen, KJ Britt, God bless him, wasn't playing well in this game. He just wasn't. It is what it is. Blitz him. I mean, why is he not the guy getting blitzed? Have him blitz, and then you don't have to worry about it because they have guys who are used to playing with each other in coverage. Why are you letting him basically have to sit back in coverage and blitzing next to him? So now he has these tougher assignments. It just doesn't make any sense. It was a fine game plan to go in with. I think that's fine. It wasn't working, and the fact that there were no adjustments made by Todd Bowles, this is what drives you crazy about Todd Bowles. He's a good coach. He is. He's not a bad coach at all. He does really good things, but he has these games where you're like, not only are you not making a lot of sense, this is just obviously not what you should be doing right now. And he's doing it anyway. Another weird Todd Bowles thing was that challenge, which didn't really matter because they lost it and it didn't need another challenge, so it was fine. And they didn't need another timeout in the first half, so it was fine. But challenging that call, where if you missed the game, what happened was the Buccaneers the Falcons fumbled the football, but recovered it further down the field. It was, I said that wrong. The Falcons threw an incomplete pass and then recovered it further down the field. There was some question about whether it was a fumble or not, so Todd Bowles challenged it, but the Falcons recovered it anyway, so all they would have done was gotten more yards had it been overturned, and it clearly wasn't a fumble. What's going on here? That was stupid. Yeah, I mean, some other tough stuff. The Bucky Irving, that fumble, who I thought had a good game in this one, but that's just... He's not, and I've seen him do this a bit now, where he keeps one hand on the football. You got to keep two hands on the football, especially in that situation. You're running out the clock. How do you have one hand on the football there? That's an inexcusable mistake. I didn't like that they put him back out there. He played fine once you put got back out there. I think that should have been it for the game. You got to put Rachaad White in there because he's going to put two hands on the football in that spot. That can't happen, and that was frustrating. Got to talk positives. This offense was great. Baker Mayfield is legitimately, here's the crazy stat line of today, only 180 yards for Baker Mayfield. That just goes to show yards are not the end-all, be-all, because he was awesome in this, and I have nothing but good things to say from Mayfield. A missed throw or two in there, but for the most part, he was amazing. He made some really nice plays. This offense was great. Evans with a couple of touchdowns. The Bucs are fine. It's a tough loss. It is. It's frustrating because if you won this, you'd be 4-1. You basically have a stranglehold on the division to start the year. It's a tough loss, but you're okay. The defense is really banged up. It's going to get healthier. It just is. And we've seen this with Todd Bowles. You take the worst 3 games of the year, the defense looks unplayable. It's usually not that bad throughout the rest of the season, right? That's just how it is. The offense is rolling against a good defense. This Falcons defense is no slouch. The fact that they were able to put up 30 points is impressive. And they got a semblance of a running game, which is good to see as well. So, again, I know that, it's going to... emotions are high, especially when you lose such a tightly contested game. These are two good teams. I think these two teams are going to be playing in January. I do. I'm not talking about the first week of January when every team plays. I mean, these teams are going to be in the playoffs. This feels like two playoff teams duking it out. And the better team won tonight. I think the better team won tonight. Again, you had a missed field goal from Younghoe Koo. That doesn't usually happen. A blocked field goal from Younghoe Koo. That doesn't usually happen. Not from Younghoe Koo, but on Younghoe Koo. And then, Falcons were able to make the nice play at the end. And it really came down to a coin toss, which I got to bring up that as well. I'm not being a salty loser. I've said this, not even counting the when my team loses off of this. I just hate the fact that a coin toss matters. It shouldn't matter. A coin toss should be like, if it's an advantage, like a 1% advantage. I think, people use false numbers. People say, well, the winner only wins like 55% of the time. But that's if you count in ties, it's actually significant. It's like a 10% advantage of winning, which isn't a guarantee. Tampa Bay still could have won this game, even losing the coin toss. It's not a reason they lost, but just unfortunate. I don't like it. I just don't like it. It's totally subjective. I just don't like it. I would have liked to see Mayfield get a chance, or just end it in a tie. That would have been fine too. Or have some sort of way where someone wins the coin toss, like the home team just automatically gets it or something. That's fine. But the fact that a coin toss is like the most suspenseful play of this game is just that bothers me. But yeah, as a whole, again, I think general thoughts. Atlanta's a good team. Atlanta's going to win some games. It is what it is. When you have all the injuries defensively, your defense isn't going to look so good. I still think Todd Bowles can you play man coverage once? Just give me one cover one man, see how it looks. It can't be worse than what you're throwing out there now. I would have liked to see that. But, yeah. And Zion McCollum, who I thought had a great day. Unfortunate that it ends that way. Zion McCollum's played really well this year. I thought he had a really good game. Unfortunate that it ends with him going for a play and missing. It is what it is. But, yeah. Again, if you're someone who hate watches these videos, which apparently is a thing that happens now, sorry I'm not crying and screaming, because I think they're okay. I really do. I think that this is not a bad football team. I think that there are, like I said, some issues. They have to get healthy, but I don't know. It sucks because you lost. This team, I think, again, if they're going to play like how they played offensively in this game for most games, they're back in the playoffs. That's just how I view them. But yeah, those are my thoughts. What are yours? Let me know in the comments below. Always love hearing from y'all. And of course, as always, thanks for watching.